Poland is undergoing one of the most intense military buildups in Europe. Its strategic location, combined with rapid rearmament and increasingly assertive policies, has made it central to NATO's posture in the East. But while Western allies view this as deterrence, Russia sees it as deliberate escalation. This video explores why Poland's actions are being interpreted not as defense, but as a direct threat. Poland is spending big on its military, 5% of its GDP by 2026, which is more than any other NATO country and more than double NATO's own spending target. Poland is focusing its budget on mobile tanks, precision missiles, and fighter jets that can strike far beyond its borders. This shows a shift from simply protecting its territory to being able to lead or support military operations across the region. But it's not just the money. It's what Poland is buying that signals a shift from defense to regional strike capability. Poland has ordered 250 M1A, 2 SEPV-3 Abrams tanks in a $4.75 billion deal, April 2022, and later added 116 M1A1s for $1.4 billion, January 1, 2023, replacing outdated T-72s and PT-91s inherited from the Cold War era. It's also replacing Soviet MiG-29s and Su-22s with 32 F-35A stealth fighters, enabling deep strike electronic warfare and nuclear delivery capability within NATO missions. On top of that, Poland is acquiring over 100 HIMARS launchers, part of a framework to buy up to 486 units, providing long-range, precision-guided firepower. And the most vulnerable pressure point in this equation? Russia's exposed outpost in the Baltics, Kaliningrad. Kaliningrad is Russia's most critical military outpost in Europe, hosting the Baltic Fleet, Iskander-M missiles, S-400s, and advanced electronic warfare systems, giving Moscow immediate strike and jamming capability across NATO's eastern front. It also contains Russia's only ice-free deep-water port on the Baltic, essential for naval operations year-round. But it's a strategic paradox. Powerful, yet geographically isolated, with all ground access relying on Belarus or the fragile Suwałki Gap. This 65-kilometer corridor between Poland and Lithuania is NATO's land bridge to the Baltics and Russia's only overland link between Kaliningrad and Belarus. If sealed off, Kaliningrad becomes a stranded forward base, unable to resupply. But Poland isn't just geographically close. It's becoming the logistical heart of NATO's eastern push. Poland's geographic position provides NATO with direct ground access to Russia's western strategic corridor via Belarus and northeastern Ukraine, making it the most critical forward operating zone for Allied force projection. It borders Belarus along a 418-kilometer frontier and is integrated into NATO's logistical corridor linking Western Europe to the eastern flank. Poland hosts permanent U.S. infrastructure at Army Garrison Poland, USAGP, and Camp Kościuszko, home to the 5th U.S. Army Corps Forward Command Post, officially established in March 2023. Its road, rail, and air infrastructure is being expanded under NATO and EU military mobility programs to allow unhindered movement of heavy military units across the continent to isolate Kaliningrad. And nowhere is this forward role more visible than in how Poland fuels the war in Ukraine. Poland is the central logistics hub, political advocate, and frontline enabler of Ukraine's war effort. Nearly all NATO and U.S. arms shipments, from HIMARS and Leopard tanks to Patriot systems, transit through Polish territory, with the Rzeszów-Jasionka Air Base serving as the main supply node just 100 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. Poland has directly transferred over 200 T-72 tanks, more than 70 Krab self-propelled howitzers, and at least a dozen MiG-29 jets, while also training Ukrainian forces and co-producing weapons under a bilateral defense pact. From Russia's point of view, Poland isn't just helping Ukraine, It's actively playing a key role in keeping the war going. But behind the shipments and speeches, Poland is also hardening its borders like it's preparing for direct conflict. Poland's $2.5 billion East Shield project is a major defense infrastructure plan stretching across roughly 400 kilometers of its eastern border with Belarus and the Russian exclave of Kaliningrad. Announced in March 2024, the system will include surveillance towers, motion and seismic sensors, anti-tank barriers, electronic warfare countermeasures, and fortified military positions. Officials say it's to stop hybrid threats, but the layout looks less like a migration fence and more like a Cold War-era tripwire built to detect, delay, and defend against anything coming from the east. And if the weapons and walls weren't enough, Poland's own rhetoric is now pushing the limits of deterrence. Polish leaders have increasingly embraced the concept of preemptive defense, signaling a more aggressive posture toward Russia. In April 2024, Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz stated that Poland must be ready to strike first if necessary to protect NATO territory. President Andrzej Duda also suggested that Poland would be open to hosting U.S. nuclear weapons, a proposal that Moscow condemned as a major provocation. While Western officials frame this as deterrence, Russia interprets it as justification for first strike escalation, making it look more like a direct threat than just a defensive partner of NATO. This is why, to Moscow, Poland no longer looks like a shield. It looks like a threat. Poland's transformation from a border state to a forward-operating military hub is reshaping the entire balance on NATO's eastern front. Whether seen as necessary deterrence or calculated provocation depends on where you stand. But the consequences are real, and they're unfolding fast. Is Russia right to see Poland as a frontline threat, or is this just standard NATO posture? Drop your comments and subscribe for more.